Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Barb Meets World, and I am back to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac's Season 10, Episode 2, meant to be Shady. And I also have a Dr. Wendy update. You guys know that she, unfortunately, her and Eddie, I should say, were arrested last week on some fraud charges. So I have some updates with that. But before we get into all that, you already know, y'all, I need you guys to do a few things for myself, which include liking the video. Yes, like the video because it helps me and my channel in terms of the algorithm, helps me attract new subscribers such as yourself. So if you are not a current subscriber, I don't know why. However, we can fix that with you hitting that subscription button. Also, share me with all of your folks. And as I'm trying to get back into the algorithm, y'all blow up the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode, how you guys felt about my commentary, and how you feel about what Wendy is going through at this time. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Oh, yeah. And of course, follow me on all of my socials that are scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Okay, y'all. So let's jump right into it because I don't want to waste any time. But first things first, I did see yesterday that Andy put out a statement, or I shouldn't say put out a statement, but he spoke on all things Wendy and Eddie Osefo, that is. So I'm going to and I will link the article below, but it is from People, and it says Andy Cohen is speaking out about the recent arrest of the Real Housewives of Potomac stars Dr. Wendy Osefo and husband Eddie Osefo. On the October 13th episode of Andy Cohen Live, the Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, host shared his thoughts after the couple was arrested on 16 fraud charges on October 9th. He said, "I want to say that, like all of you, I found out about the charges against Wendy and Eddie Osefo on Friday morning, and there's not much that I can say." Okay. The television personality shared, "I know nothing of the charges more than you guys do than what I've read. I'm sad about this. I'm really sad about this. I'm a Wendy fan, and she has been a great housewife and a great role model," he continued. "She's always led with education and her solid family values. And so I'm really thinking about her and her family, and I'm certainly hoping that this is all some big nothing." He concluded his comments by noting that he would have brought up the situations of Osefo's RHOP co-star Ashley Darby during her interview on Watch What Happens Live on October 12th, but it was previously taped. "We had taped that before I went to LA, so that is why you did not hear me asking Ashley her thoughts on that in this case, if you were wondering." In case you were wondering, he explained. So yes, like I said, y'all, I will link it below. That's what Andy had to say. He says that he doesn't really have much more to say and stuff like that, or you're hoping it's just nothing. Unfortunately, like, you and I both don't believe that, Andy, because it's not giving nothing. It's giving that this all went down last spring of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just like, given the time period, it's clear that they have what they need in order to pursue legal action, obviously, with the 16 charges and stuff like that. Like, they have something concrete there. So unfortunately, I don't think that we can all just sit here and say nothing, or it's nothing. It must be something. And not only that, but it unfortunately has made it to where Wendy also, we'll move on to this next article by People, she resigned from the university, from Wesleyan University. So it doesn't really seem like it's nothing, unfortunately. And we're just going to have to find out. I believe they are set to appear in court. Their hearing, I believe, is set for early next month. Yeah, let me see. Early next month, March 2024, or no, March. Let me see, y'all. Why are these pictures so big? Sorry, y'all. Just trying to see if I could find the date. I should have wrote it down earlier when I heard it, but oh well, I can't find it right now. So moving on, like I said, People magazine wrote, Wendy Osefo resigns from Wesleyan University amid fraud charges. The reality star and political commentator was previously announced as a distinguished visiting professor at the private Connecticut institution. Dr. Wendy Osefo has stepped down from her position at Wesleyan University after being arrested on fraud charges. The Real Housewives of Potomac star and her husband, Eddie Osefo, are facing 16 charges, including 7 felonies related to alleged false/misleading info fraud in excess of $300. I'm making sure I enunciate that properly because for some odd reason, a lot of people in the comments are still messing people up in the comments. I don't know why, but it is. This decision was made independently and communicated directly to the university before any external reports surfaced, a spokesperson for the reality star tells People. I'm glad that they made that clear because earlier on, it said that I was seeing a lot of reports saying that she was like let go of on behalf of the university. No, as it states here, like I said, I will link it below. It states that she voluntarily resigned, which honestly, y'all, I'm not surprised about it. I definitely saw that coming. And quite honestly, I would have even understood it if it was in the reversed way, where the institution actually let her go. And I say that because there's such things as morality clauses and stuff like that. And that's what this matter is. So I just assumed that they were going to just say like, hey, this doesn't paint us in a good light to be associated with you. So we're going to have to let you go and let that be that. And I wonder if should she got a severance payout or anything? I wonder. Anyway, but I will leave those both below, y'all. I still feel the same way I did when I came to you guys just a few days ago when the news broke and everything like that. God, it just, of all stunts to pull, I would have, it's not even a stunt. Actually, I would have rathered them just flat out declare bankruptcy before I saw them take matters into their own hands and do something like this, something that just reeked of, hey, I'm an amateur. This is my first rodeo. This is my first fraud case. This is my first quick one that I'm trying to pull. It reeked of that. It reeked of, we are not criminals. We are just in a really bad financial situation is what this tells me. How much debt are we talking? Because it's just, it's wild to me that this was the best option. And that brings me back to some of the points I made before when I spoke on it, which is like, it's giving that the pressure to be like the perfect successful bragging token of the family or however you want to put it, it's giving that they succumb to that I wonder if I could bring up real quick this other theory I have, which is like Wendy just gives me the doing well academically was obviously ingrained in her from a very early age. And I feel like, unfortunately, socially, a lot of times it's not looked at to be cool if, you know, you're the smart girl or anything like that, or you're the smart guy, or, you know, what have you. I feel like she wanted to more so fit that cool girl, fashion girl moniker. And it's just like, it's okay to just be you. I feel like she is having like an internal like battle with herself, which is like on the outside, it's giving the outside and the inside are not aligned. It's giving like, yes, I might have got my body done. I might have, got these fashions. I fit the look aesthetically, but it still wasn't giving her the results that she wanted to see, I guess. So she took it to this next level. And it's like, because y'all, and I'm not going to spend too much longer on this, because again, I do want to get into the episode, but I feel like when she first, like there's been a difference in how she shows up from the beginning versus now, which is like, she was leading with, degrees, and that didn't go over so well for so many people. So I feel like instead she's like, let me pull it back in, rework it, and throw it back out there and hope it's more digestible for people to be the cool fashion girl or whatever. And even like I said before, when she said that she doesn't know how about the mortgage or who that's paid to or whatever, she doesn't really deal with their finances like that or whatever. I feel like, for lack of a better phrase, she gives too much of a control freak to one, allow that to happen, and two, to be removed from that, because I feel like she did that to come off more as like, again, cool and stuff like that. Like, oh, I'm just thinking about fashions. I'm over here. He's, my husband, he's got that handled over there. And I'm just, over here. I feel like she tried to fit into this mold that wasn't truly who she is inside. And I just think that at the end of the day, you need to be who you are, and whoever's going to like it and whoever's going to resonate with, it's just going to be that way. And the ones that aren't appreciative of it, they can fall to the wayside. Because now, look, you got to look into your children's faces. You got to look yourself in the mirror and face the music. And without actually, on the topic of children, and I know I made mention of this again in my other video, I hope that this hasn't messed up anything as far as for Cameron. And maybe some of you guys are wondering why I'm saying that, but their commercial that I'm seeing all the time and stuff like that, like I hope that's one not going to get pulled. I didn't watch the episode in real time. I haven't watched Bravo in real time to know if they have been still airing that clip or airing that commercial, I should say. But I hope that isn't the case. That would be so heartbreaking. I really hope not. I hope that, she still is getting the benefits, monetary benefits, of course, and all that, like the proceeds from her first commercial and stuff like that. Like, what? Talk about a fall from grace, y'all. Talk about a fall from grace. I think that's all I have to say about it, though. Like I said before, couldn't find the date, but I know we'll continue to hear more. Y'all know probably by now that the new series, the Wife Swap series, her episode got snatched. That was supposed to be the premiere episode. I'm really devastated about that because I was really excited to get into that new series. I wonder if when it does premiere, they're still going to premiere that episode. I wonder if it's going to be a different episode. Like, I'd wonder. I looked on the TV guide to see if it was still going to air, maybe a different episode. Not the case. So I'll let y'all know something when I find out something, and vice versa. Nonetheless, let's get into the episode. Okay. So, y'all, where are we? Okay. Meant to be shady. Okay, so we pick right back up with Stacey and Ashley. They were going back and forth at Ashley's second Bloom event, aka her divorce party, because we all know that's just what she just wanted to be cool and call it something else. It's a divorce party. Anyway, at that same time, Wendy and Kay, they were still having their exchange, right? And Wendy's justification for the NAACP event was that her attendance wasn't even solidified. her kids were sick. And that's actually something she communicated to the NAACP in preparation. So again, Kay, and let me just sidebar real quick and say, Kay, you're getting showed up by the new ladies. You keep picking all these bones that are just not landing right. A lot of people online are just not here for the stuff that you're talking and the storyline that you're pursuing and stuff like that. And I feel like it's probably even more devastating on one hand too, because it's like when he's going through all this stuff and stuff. And I'm not saying to not speak on something just because, something is happening on this accord. Like everybody just gotta, like, oh no, everybody work out. No, that's not what I'm saying. However, what I am saying is that you were introduced as Wendy's friend. We saw you guys kind of having what I thought was, a cute little duo going on with y'all. And it just seems like you had ample time and ample chances to bring these things up to her. And it just seems like you didn't for whatever reason. And it also seems like you're vocal in certain settings and in certain moments when you may have not been as vocal last year. Like, why is your focus all on all the wrong things is what it's giving to me this season with Kay. Need you to shift your focus, mama. Anyway, then everyone gathers around and Ashley continues to press Stacey. And Stacey's like, and then Ashley even brings Kay in on it to assist her. Forget exactly what she asked her, but Stacey's like, look, UK, because Kay started to press her too, it's giving you're coming off very aggressive, and it's giving you like want to fight or something. And Kay was like, okay, hold up. If I want to fight, I know how to fight. So let's not go there. And I was like, that was a little funny. Not gonna lie, Kay. That did make me laugh a little bit. You had to let her know. However, I do still think that a lot of what you're doing is tired and is not going to win over the audience. It's not. And you had the stakes were piled pretty high for you, if I do say so myself, this season or whatever. And I say that because, again, last season, a lot of people didn't even want you to come back. So I feel like if you do not make a mark this season, then unfortunately, although I physically love looking at you, gorgeous girl, I do think that there are some redeeming qualities. Like, you've given us some things to where it's like, okay, like, cool. Like, I want to see more. And, the fashions, you're always looking the part. It's all cool. It's all fine and dandy, but you just have to really deliver and stick that landing with the viewers. And I don't know, y'all. So y'all let me know in the comments. Do you feel like this will be our last season? Again, it's only episode 2, but are you liking what Kay is putting down so far or not? Because anyway, I also appreciated how Angel was quick to come to her friend of 20 years' defense and let them know, like, Kay, she's not even a negative person, like, at all. And I feel like that's crazy because later on, obviously in the episode and stuff like that, now you got a problem with your friend of 20 years. It's just like, girl, this is not what I wanted you to lead with this season. Like, come on. Nonetheless, Gizelle speaks to Cookie, which is Karen's longtime friend. It seems like Karen's birthday is obviously coming up, which I believe she's born in April, right? So yeah, this puts us back in April. They're gonna have to do something special for their girl. She being Cookie is in daily communication with Ray. He's been golfing, doing all things similar, and honestly, I love that for Ray. I hope that he didn't look at this being Karen's incarceration as he just needed to sit in the shadows and weep and stare at her picture until she comes home. I like that he was still getting out there and stuff like that. And quite honestly, it might have been just gave him a breather for real, because we saw him out there trying to take, God, the body cam footage. We saw him out there trying to take up for his wife and try to, diffuse the situation the best he could. Unfortunately, certain things you just cannot get your partner out of, especially when the law is involved. We saw him. We saw him all in her purse. We saw him all in her purse, looking for license, offering up his license, and the whole nine. So I really feel like this was probably just time for him to just not be bothered and stressed out with those type of antics. So good on Ray. Glad to hear it. Ashley also had this epic surprise, and it was like a bedazzled dancer who was like giving the ladies quite a show. But honestly, y'all, during that moment when she was dancing and stuff like that, all I could focus on in that frame was just the avant-gardeness of Wendy's look. And it was a nice look. I liked it and stuff like that. But just looking at her look in comparison to the other ladies, and this is coming from somebody who is a serial overdresser. I do. Again, it's giving that you were spending all your money up on the wrong things or mismanaging it, because it just makes me question all of these choices that you've made. And I'm like, did you really need to, wear that dress? Like, and no, I don't expect her to come up here looking raggedy, but it seems like you could have bought a little bit more secondhand. You could have repurposed maybe some things. You could have just rented, like a lot of other people are doing in 2025. There's so many secondhand sites and sites that you can rent clothing, accessories, etc., from. So I don't know why you couldn't just, opt for one of those things, other than just trying to be like going so hard, trying to be that girl. Just be yourself. Anyway. When Tia let the ladies know a little bit about her and how she was Nigerian, of course, Wendy went up for that. I did find it funny also how Stacey was like, well, gee, Willie, guess what, y'all? I'm Nigerian too. I love Stacey for those corny, humorous moments that she has. Priceless. And that's why I'll never say that she was a bad addition to the show in that regard. Moving right along, real quick, we had how we get those little 2.2 second clips in between and stuff like that. We saw Kay real quick in her spa, and she was having like a little meeting or whatever with her team. Her mom was there also. I really, really want to know more about Kay's mom for whatever reason. Is she actually hands-on involved in the business? Does she work with her daughter? Like what's her background? I want to know what she got going on the daily. What who's in her Rolodex? Like, I'm curious, genuinely. Anyway, y'all, and if you watch the episode, you probably already know why I'm grunting. This next scene, Wendy in her house, striding around in those black and white platforms. She had a whole black and white look going on. It was very Chanel-esque. Doing a lot. And y'all, we don't have all the facts yet, but I can't help it. I'm scrutinizing it all. And trying to dissect and calculate and subtract things that could have been subtracted. She looked nice though. Anyway, Stacey likes Wendy, and she was hoping that her honesty is well received by someone who is level-headed in the group, unlike the Ashleys and the Gizelles of it all. Like maybe I can get in Wendy's ear. How about that? So right off the bat, again, Wendy was doing that whole like, where's Eddie thing or whatever. It doesn't give like you're a helpless person until he comes around. Like that's not the energy. That's not synonymous with the energy that you came onto the show with. I feel like that's why people are starting to see these inconsistencies and wonder, like, will the real Wendy please stand up? It's also probably why us Geminis get such a bad rap, because you're being inconsistent in your character. Like, come on, girl. Like, from a fellow Gemini. Anyway, but Stacey tells Wendy about how shopping went with Ashley. We saw that like in last week's episode. And because she sees the ring, she sees the ring on Stacey's hand, she's like, are you engaged? Like, And of course, Stacey goes on to tell her that, no, actually, I just, been rekindling things with my husband. And Wendy's like, girl, like, it's a lot. It's a lot going on with you. And it's just very convenient. This is a very convenient 180. And from the outside looking in, I can understand why she would say that. But I feel like, do you feel like Stacey was weaseling out of one thing by providing the truth on something else a little bit? I feel like she got to backtrack from that and is hoping to maybe garner Wendy's support on that by paying her with the truth and the honesty about pursuing a cannabis line. Because as we heard in last year's reunion, Stacey was putting her feelers out here to start up her own cannabis line. We know, obviously, Wendy, Eddie, whatever, Happy Eddie. This is when she decides to finally fess up and tell Wendy that, hey, actually, I am in the process of starting up my own cannabis line, but it didn't have anything to do with you or Eddie. And Wendy's like, oh, so, Gizelle was right. She's like, no, it happened after. And, that conversation came up in March, whatever. Wendy's not really buying it, but at this time, she offers up Stacey her best. She wishes her the best in her cannabis endeavors. And again, Wendy's finding comfort in knowing, like, girl, we not new to this, we true to this. And a lot of the people up in the industry were actually letting us know that she was going around probing them for info or whatever. Like, girl, you gotta do better than that, Stacey. But I'm glad that they finally cleared that up. And I feel like this is not going to be something that's going to destroy them, because apparently later on in the season, I guess, or as it stands right now, Stacey and Wendy have actually gotten like closer for real. And I think Ashley also might have doubled down on that too on Watch What Happens Live, which I did watch. Don't really have much to say about that except for two things. I'll say that for the end. Moving right along. Gizelle paid a visit to Tia. I love how Gizelle said this is her friend. They bonded over both having twins, but when she went in that lady's house, she greeted that lady's husband and was up in there like, this is just completely new territory. It's giving that storybook, like, superficial housewives friend. It's given the, oh yeah, we had to introduce this person as this person's friend so that it made sense bringing them into the group. That's what this was. And in present day, I don't know if I've said this already, but apparently Tia and Gizelle are not even friends. So love to see how that's going to fizzle out. Nonetheless, Tia, she has a 16-year-old daughter, a 13-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old boy, and boy and girl twins. Those are twins. So they sit down. We really only quickly find out just a little bit more about Tia in this scene. And we find out that while she grew up in London she grew up in London by way of Nigeria, she had cooks, she had, hired help, she had drivers, the whole nine, etc. Her husband, in contrast, grew up on the south side of Chicago, and it wasn't given that. So they balance each other out well. I thought that was something that I could even empathize with, because me and my husband are very much opposites in that same regard too. So that's cool. Understood. Everything's cool. He actually in this scene was taking the kids to the mall or something like that. She's like, I don't do the drop-offs. Okay. I don't do the errands. I don't do none of that. That's all him. So I was like, okay. So they have an interesting dynamic, and looking forward to seeing more about that. I think I already said that they've been together 17 years. And it's like crazy because when we compare this show to shows like Atlanta, right? The Real Housewives of Atlanta, where Brit, we didn't even know, we still, to this day, it is, where I'm at, it is 5:22 p.m. on, October 14th. Yeah. So with that being said, still don't even know what Brit's husband does. We're on episode 2 of The Real Housewives of Potomac season 10, and we already know down to the specific freaking, almost a specific job title code. We know exactly what Tia's husband does, and even Angel's husband, being retired, and they now have this business and stuff like that. Like, we know what both of their husbands do, and it's only episode 2. Just want to make that comparison, y'all. Anyway, but he does sales and acquisitions for a major aeronautical company. I did think it was funny when Gizelle said, "Oh, so he's a nerd. He needs to be friends with Wendy's husband." I thought that, like, I don't mind her saying stuff like that. Like, that's probably the only time I don't mind her talking about somebody's husband or whatever. That was funny enough, cute, and sane. Moving on. Ashley, she was getting ready to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Don't really have much to say about this. She has, since the Love Hotel show has wrapped, she rekindled things a bit with Josh. He wasn't too much of a fan when she was going on that show, and she told him, we kind of had to pause it or whatever, but she sent him the "Hey Big Head" text, which is very ironic. She sent that text to him. He responded, and it's up for there. So he shows up. I actually really liked Ashley's dress, so much so that I'm like, why didn't you wear this dress to your party? I didn't really care too much for the dress, the green dress that she had on initially at her party. I'm like, you should have switched the two out, but what do I know? Nonetheless, you know what else Ashley doesn't like? She doesn't really like the way Josh cleans up. I think she didn't like how much product he had in his hair. I don't know if she likes more natural, or it just was too much product to the point that it was weighing the hair down, it was over-styled. I don't know what it was. She didn't really care for that. The camera panned down his shoes. She also said that, maturity-wise, with him not being somebody that, like, has white sheets, it's just, like, these little things and stuff. And I was just like, so then do you really like him then, or whatever? Because he just, again, I don't really have much to say about this scene. We also met her sister too, but it's giving like, this is just fun to be fun probably for you. But at the same time, I'm like, well, this is the second season we're seeing him. I don't know. So maybe we will continue to see him. Who knows? But I don't really ever have too much to say about Ashley's scenes because it's either she's pissing me off or it's just like boring or corny to me. Nonetheless, like I said, we met her younger half sister, meaning her daddy is the dude that Ashley don't like, that she don't want her mom with and stuff like that. Yeah, that whole thing. So that's obviously probably been a point of contention for them, which is why they're now trying to get like closer now. I think she said her sister's about to go off to college or something. I don't know. Moving on. Tia and her husband, really cute scene. They went out on a date and they you can tell they're like really, I feel like you can tell they're really into each other. I think he's good looking. I think that wait, did I say Tia? I meant Angel. Sorry. Angel and her husband. Is her husband named Bobby? I think so. They go on a date. I feel like they're really into each other. I think they compliment each other well. They obviously they have a lot of like their lives are intertwined with business, and now they're relocating back to the East Coast. And I feel like a big part of I feel like two things can be true at the same time. I feel like a big part of the reason why they haven't found a permanent forever home in the area is one, because, and we find out in the scene, their home in Colorado. Wait, because this actually requires an actual hand clap. I just had to do that real quick, y'all, because when I say Angel's, their first house, whatever you want to call it, when the other house, the old house, when I say the old house can be my new house right now, and I literally just bought a new house, like, forget this house. I want that house. Because mama had that house laid out from floor to ceiling, so much so it's won awards. Okay, it's won awards. Can we do it since Potomac don't like to actually go anywhere for real on their trips? Can we at least go over to Colorado and stay in her home so we can see it? So we can see it closer up, because y'all did that. The Massies did that. I love interior design, y'all. I love decor and stuff like that. So I was all in for that. And then the other reason, though, I should say that I feel like, as the other reason as to why I feel like they haven't found their forever home, y'all, in the area, is also because I feel like that's completely normal. It depends on how well the show does, probably, maybe, or her spot on the show or whatever. So why would we, 100% put down roots and transition here if, like, one of the main reasons probably that sparked us moving back in the time frame that we did is for the show. Like, I totally get why they're in a rental, but I do hope they find something that they like. I think he said that he wants like minimum of 2 acres. She's like minimum of 5. I was like, and finding the amount of property with the type of house that they want on it or whatever. It's just like, that's a big purchase. Like, that's not just something that's going to just be a quick little weekend test, and you're just going to have the place picked out by the end of the weekend. Like, no, it's definitely going to take some time. And she actually brought up the fact that Tia is a realtor, so maybe we'll see them working together in the future. Who knows? I actually welcome stuff like that, because I don't like when the new ladies like come on and they're like automatically beefing over something superficial from the beginning. I'm not saying that you guys have to be friends just because you come onto the show at the same time, but I would just think that's a logical start for you guys to kind of form a friendship. If you guys are both new, like there's a lot to empathize with one another on and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool. What else? Her husband also poked fun at the fact that when he first hit her up, she definitely left that message sitting in the DMs getting dusty for like 4 years until his money got right. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even mad at that. Like, let's be real, y'all. If people would just be more real and upfront about their intentions and the whole nine and expectations and all that, there would be a lot less foolishness going on in this world. I'm just saying, and I say that because, no, I think it's perfectly fine for you to say, like, no, I want to be with somebody who has a job, one, and, if they make a certain amount or whatever. Like, I'm not saying that, yeah, you should lead with that, because I do feel like there's a lot more qualities you should be looking for other than just the financial piece of it. But that is also important. So, yeah, maybe that is the reason. I don't know, but if it is, then just keep it a buck. Like, it is what it is. Anyway, what else? Gizelle and Kei. Gizelle stops by Kei's new spot, y'all, that we actually saw for the first time last week with her mom. And is it just me, or is it giving like apartment building, or like, I'm trying to understand the structural setup of where she moved to, because when Gizelle was at the front door, and I wish I would have gotten a picture of this, y'all, I do apologize about that. When she was knocking on the door or whatever, and Kei opened the door, it was like she was already in like a hallway, and it wasn't just like an outside like foyer like type of vibe. It was like, no, like that was actually, she was in the interior of a building or something. So just curious, y'all know me. Anyway, right off the bat, Gizelle asked her, so does Greg be over here or what? And Kei's like, yes. So you moved out of his house to get space, but then he still be over there in your space, and then but you like your space because it's like your space, but he still be in your space, and then you might still be in his space from time to time too. So it's giving like what was the point? What was the point of this? I loathe the thought of having to see this man on camera this season. I'm hoping that with all this talk of him not being comfortable with the show or wanting to be on the show, I'm hoping that means that he won't be on the show going forward. But I don't want to see him. I don't. Not surprised that Gizelle asked that immediately because it's Gizelle. But and my question still stands. It's just funny seeing Gizelle and Kay hang out or whatever, when I feel like, again, Gizelle was trying to be kind of like funny towards Kay last year when she didn't invite her to Karen's like attitude party and that whole thing. Like, still curious about what the behind the scenes conversation was about that. Or knowing Kay, maybe she just didn't even care because it seems like she pursues all the wrong issues with people, but whatever. Anyway. Kay, nonetheless, super happy with where her and Greg are. They're on the same page, but Gizelle does make mention of how, Greg, he's the man set in his ways. That's probably why he got divorced the first time. Anyway, which is cool, but like, where does that land Kay? Like, where does she involved in that equation? And I think that's honestly a legit question, because it just seemed like if he wasn't and I feel like, yes, is it a big ask to be like, hey, can you be on national TV with me? Yeah, it is. But if you see that this is something that your partner really wants to do, I understand that you might view it as a detriment because she was physically harmed at one point. But if she's saying this is still something she wants to pursue, if you're saying that, you signed up to do this, it's like that you gave her your blessing that you're going to be part of it or whatever, it just doesn't seem like he's trying to mold into her world, but like she's supposed to mold, but fit into the mold of his world. Like, y'all feel me? I say that again because last year we saw her always down to his business, doing stuff for his business. We barely was up in her business. I don't think we've actually seen a spa event there yet, which I don't know why. But maybe they don't want to give you your own spa segment because you're not delivering much. Just saying. But she just really be confusing me sometimes. And I think the bottom line is, for me at least, Jassi, get her a damn basketball player or footballer and call it a day. that might sound wild, but y'all, like, I just feel like it's going to be the constant, like, her shrinking herself or minimizing herself to fit into his world and him not having to come up off of anything. Like, yeah, a vacation is cool and all, but like, what actually have you done internally? And I feel like a lot of that also has to do with the fact that they got together so quickly after his divorce. That didn't give him time to learn or relearn or rework anything or do any type of healing or growing. Honestly, it might behoove you to go talk to an ex-wife. Honestly, I mean, again, depending on generally what went down or what caused the divorce or whatever. If it was some type of behavioral communication, like some internal things and not something else, then yeah, you might want to lock in on that, because this is probably why you're having certain issues that you're having with him. Even if you want to say you're good or whatever, like, I don't get it. Life too short. Life is way too short. Anyway. So Gizelle inquires about Angel's upcoming event. We soon find out that Kay had a spa event. Again, we didn't get to see it, but whatever. It wasn't shown. But Kay, Ashley, Angel, and Tia were in attendance, and Kay was actually informing them what went down between her and Wendy and stuff like that, and that whole conversation. And Angel actually started to take up for Wendy, so much so that she being Kay, had to chin check her friend. This is what she told Gizelle. She used the word chin check. And Gizelle, of course, she jumps right on that grenade and she's like, whoa, I didn't know that we chin check friends. She says that in her confessional, but then in the scene, she actually admits to liking a little chin check. So, and I have to agree though, and say that, no, I don't believe that you chin check friends, supposedly. And if that's the type of language that you want to use with me as your friend, yeah, that's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly at all. And yeah, that usually does mean something physical from, at least my parts. So y'all tell me what that means from where you from. So okay, I have questions anyway. And it's just like, you again, why are you, I don't know why. Is it just because Karen's not around? I don't know why you're trying to be so cool with Gizelle, because we see what she did and was so quick to run her mouth when y'all got down to being in front of all the ladies. So, okay, you might just want to rethink that one. Just saying, my love. Moving right along. It's now the day of Angel's Tranquility, Truth and Tranquility party. And again, this is just her idea of allowing the ladies a closer glimpse into her life and what she brings to the group and stuff like that, in terms of like a meditation and, her whole outdoor experiences and stuff like that. Like that, this is a part of that. So, and we can all benefit from a little woosah. So anyway, y'all, I love how Angel, she's like, like she don't allow no laying in her home or anything like that. But of course, none other than Gizelle has to be the one to say and scrutinize and say like, this is just, not what she's into. She's not into truth and tranquility. What did she say? She's into lies and foolishness. Yeah, we know. And that's what you've been doing and spreading on the show for 10 seasons. Don't let her fool you, y'all. Don't let her fool you. But and I know I mentioned this when I was talking about Gizelle and Kay, which is right off the bat, Giselle's asking like, is everything good with Kay and Wendy? And they're like, they're cool, everything's fine or whatever. But or that's what they say in the moment. But Kay still feels like, in her eyes, she's moving on, versus Wendy saying that she doesn't have an issue. It has two different connotations to it. And I feel like with Wendy's, it's just kind of saying like, hey, like none of the, like, it's not her taking ownership for any of the parts that she could have played in it. It's just me saying like, I don't have an issue with you. So if you have an issue with me, that's just, a personal problem. But I know over here, I have no problems with you or what you have going on. It's not given that she hears her friend vocalizing an issue. Even if that wasn't my intent as a friend, that is hearing her friend out about how I made them feel, because I did make them feel like that, even though that was not purposeful on my part, that carries a whole different vibe than me saying, well, and I think I wrote down what Wendy said verbatim. I'm in peace, she's in pieces, we're not the same. Like, and I get that they film their confessionals after, but I just still feel like even in the initial scene with Kay and Wendy, and Kay addressing her with her issues, I still feel like Wendy was on the side of like, okay, and I can get that for some things, because I feel like some things was Kay reaching, but on other things, it's like, ultimately, if that's your friend and you care about her feelings and don't want her to feel bad, why wouldn't you try, to make her feel heard and seen instead of just saying like, I don't have an issue. Okay, but this still happened. I don't know. Anyway, so right after that, then Gizelle turns to Kay and Angel, and she's like, so are you guys good or whatever? And Kay was like, yeah, I'm good. Angel was 100% confused because she didn't know that her and Kay had any issues. Like, what is Gizelle talking about? What are you asking about? And once Stacey walks in, because she was the last person to arrive, Angel actually continues to ask Gizelle, like, what was that about? Like, what are you talking about? And this is when Gizelle says, well, wait, I'm sorry, y'all. Oh no, Angel's still unclear about what happened and what Gizelle meant with her statement. And she's like, if me and her had a problem, she'd let me know because she's my friend 20 years, right? Yeah. And then it's like a quick little crickets just before Tia jumps in to say, well, did you have an issue with her? And before Kay can even say anything, Gizelle's like, yeah, well, she told me you got chin checked. And Kay's like, well, blabbermouth, like, really? Seriously, Gizelle? And I'm like, did you expect her to do anything differently? Like, stop confiding in the person that is notorious for, like she just said, lies and foolishness. That's that's what Gizelle's into. So I didn't like how Kay wasn't forthcoming in trying to admit to saying this, because she did say it, even if like she didn't remember it or whatever. Like, no, girl, you did say it. And Gizelle had to pull her to the side and let her know, like, girl, you did say it. And it's only after she told her, like, you did say it, girl, that Kay, sorry, there's so many people on the show, that Kay actually went up to Angel and apologized and said, because she was told that she did say it. And I like that Angel was like, yeah, because friends don't chin check each other. Like, we chin check these other bitches. I understood that, but I was like, I would even understood if Kay was just like still kind of like, or Angel was still kind of like, that's wild. Like, why? Like, I would still pull her to the side. I would still have an offline conversation to say, like, look, this is already starting kind of weird, and we know that Housewives is known to break up friendships, and I shouldn't say break up friendships, because it's just like, if it's that easy to break up, then were you guys ever really friends in the first place? But we see ladies a lot of times fall into these traps where they wind up ruining their friendships for stupidness. So I really hope that Angel does pull her to the side and have that conversation if they really do value this friendship of 20 plus years, but only time will tell about that. So right off the bat, as soon as Stacey walks in though, y'all, I didn't appreciate the shade that they were throwing about her breath. And it was like, if you say like one quick little like comment in your confessional, like, oh, my breath was not giving, like, okay, ha ha, he, like, that was shady. Oh my gosh, maybe it's just that moment. But the way that they keep harping on her bad breath and stuff like that, and like all that stuff, I don't like that. I don't like that on Watch What Happens Live. They being Andy and production or whoever. I don't like how they made a game off stemming from Stacey's breath stinking allegedly. I think that's not cool. And honestly, especially with the game, like, that's kind of like an HR, I feel like, issue. I think I would have been down there on Monday at HR's office, like what was that? That's not cool. It's one thing. And honestly, if I was Stacey and Ashley kept trying to tell me, yeah, her breath is a lot and all this type of stuff, and I would be like, yeah, and them bunions are screaming at me right now. So I guess we just going back and forth. If she was on you about your bunions, I feel like that's the bigger issue, honestly, is the bunions. Because when I tell you these eyes go straight to Ashley's feet every single time she's on my screen, I kid you not. That's the bigger deal, in my opinion. Just like I feel like it's a bigger deal the times where Gizelle wanted to bring Jamal on, talk about they're supposed to be, you know, rekindling things or whatever. I also bring up the fact that Robin and Juan were on here rekindling or whatever. And it's just supposed to be like, oh, okay, cool. And Ashley also was giving Michael body rubs or foot rubs or whatever. And we were just supposed to be like, oh, okay. So that's also another reason why, going back to Stacey and the ex-husband of it all, like, I don't have an issue with her, even if it does seem like a 180. I don't have an issue with her doing that on a show where, like I just said, there's been numerous instances where other ladies have spun the block or been having a relationship or pursuing a relationship with somebody from the past or somebody who like as it stands, we don't even know anything bad, negative about Stacey's husband or anything like that. We were supposed to celebrate you, Gizelle, bringing Jamal back on the screen, even though he cheated on you and broke you down so bad that, you know, you were literally having, you know, your mental was all fucked up. Robin, who's not on the show anymore, you literally would be ready to go to war anytime anybody even said anything about Juan or, you know, what y'all had going on. Again, but we're just supposed to be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. And again, I don't even have to get into and break down why that had issues and flaws all in it. But you guys are the same ladies that are literally sitting here and are having so much to say about what Stacey has going on and stuff like that. I don't like that. And they would never be able to tell me anything about anything I had going on. And I know I said that for a fact in my last video. Moving on, because this is getting way too long, y'all. They have a little sound bath portion and everything like that. And as soon as that concludes and stuff like that, they do, what's it called, a fire circle or something, where they, you know, release anything they want to release without any interruptions. And I feel like, and I feel like in any franchise and stuff like that, when they do things like this, it's just not going to resonate with certain people. And I'm not trying to judge or say like, oh, because you don't like holistic medicine, or you don't like to meditate, or you don't like sound baths, and you don't like, you know, all these things, that there's something wrong with you, because that's not what I'm saying at all. But I do feel like a lot of times the ones who just are just vibrating at like a super low frequency, that are just very superficial and just have not reached that level, I feel like, of consciousness within themselves and stuff like that. I feel like those are the individuals on these shows that it just doesn't resonate with. And I feel like in this moment, we definitely seen that occurring and whatnot, and certain people taking it more serious than others, and that whole nine. So I did laugh when Tia referred to, I think her name was Nicole, as the holistic lady. That did make me laugh. That was a little English humor. If you guys didn't know, I feel like I hope that doesn't become an issue, because I feel like that became an issue a little bit on the Real Housewives of Dubai with Caroline Stanbury, where like they just have like a different like humor than I feel like we do, and I feel like that comes into play sometimes. So maybe that was a bit of it, or maybe she was just playing it up a little bit because she's on camera. I don't know, but I laughed. It was funny. And then to conclude this scene, Stacey actually shows Ashley the divorce notification. She was like, you know, so please take a look. And Ashley, I guess she's going to put it to bed, I guess, after this, because she claims that's all she needed. But real day one people know that that's never really the case with Ashley. And unfortunately, I feel like we're going to hear more about Stacey and stuff. And I feel like this is going to be a big part of everything this season. And I don't care that much. I don't. I don't care, even though I thought that something may have been up or it just seems kind of weird a little bit and whatever, like it does. And I want to say that I seen that they did verify that Stacey is in fact divorced. It's just like I'd rather talk about something else. I really would than to 11 hours ago, RHOP started with Stacey Rusch's divorce looks legit despite castmates' doubts. So it seems to be legit and stuff. I was never going to look it up. I don't care. So I really do not want to talk about it anymore. Moving right along. Final scene in the episode, Gizelle, Ashley, Kay, and Cookie. They're having a meal at Karen's favorite restaurant. You know, Tally Ho. We went there last season with Karen and Gizelle after her DUI crash. And I love when Ashley brought up how Karen has definitely let us know that the ladies have ruined her birthdays in the past. And all I could do was just sit there and just give a dry laugh and say, wow, it's crazy to say that. That didn't age well because look at here this time. Karen is actually the culprit behind ruining her own birthday. That's crazy. But nonetheless, you guys catch that shade that Cookie threw as soon as she walked up in there about Wendy? I did go on like a quick little like deep dive. It wasn't even deep because it was really quick. But I did see that, yes, Cookie hasn't been a fan of like Candace, Wendy. Like this is going back to even like when Monique was on show days, and there's been like she was corresponding with Mia about stuff, and she's gotten into mess and stuff like that from what I've gathered. So yeah, it seems like she's not too much of a fan of Wendy, and but she is a fan of her girl Karen. They go way back, so much so that she's like one of the only people that are on, I guess were on Karen's call list, and she lets them know that Karen, she was really strong when she went into custody. She said that she's been reading and exercising a lot. She was enrolled in a alcohol program, much like when addicts are put into drug, programs and stuff like that. So we'll hopefully Karen got something out of it. And she also did say that there was a possibility of Karen getting released early. We know now that that did actually happen. So it was interesting to hear it right then, even though she didn't tell like the ladies right then and there what the dates were and stuff like that and how early. But the big part here was when she whipped out her phone to say like, so I'm just, texting Chris Samuels actually right now. It's funny, like he's texting me, whatever. And so actually she's like, ooh, okay. So she picks up that phone and she says, well, what's funny is that Stacey's actually been trying to get with him. And they're like, ooh, what? Stacey's been trying to get Chris Samuels? Monique's ex-husband? Oh, get Monique on the phone. And in her confessional, Ashley goes on to say that at her party when she's taking her dress downstairs or whatever with one of her girlfriends said that Stacey had been asking her to hook her up with Chris Samuels, and from there she actually did wind up acquainting them, and so we know that there's going to be a lot to come with that, and that's where the episode, of course, ends and stuff like that. But I want to say that's obviously Monique's introduction in. I forgot, we still got the Monique of it all. I just feel like y'all, again, going back to the beginning of this, we know like Wendy, this whole Wendy ordeal definitely threw a monkey wrench in the plan to the point that like I forgot Monique is still even coming on here. We still got like Jassi and stuff like that. I want to see more of Jassi. It's only episode 2, so we still have a lot of the season left, but it's just so much stuff is shaking the table that it's just going to be really interesting season. It really is. But this is all I have, y'all. You let me know what you guys think of my commentary, what you guys thought of the episode, etc., etc. Again, please like the video. It helps me so much. Helps me and my channel. If you're catching this, don't forget to drop down in the comment section. Leave me some comments, please. Help me with the algorithm and everything. And Like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me on my socials, and yeah. That's all I got, y'all. So I'll see you next one. Bye.